Hello and welcome to this video. If you've been following the news, you would know that violence recently erupted in Sudan. And in most cases, when that happens in a country, the United States State Department orders the suspension of embassy operations as well as the evacuation of embassy staff. And in such a situation, people in the country concerned can no longer apply for visas. Well, that is what has happened in the case of Sudan. Because of the prevailing situation in that country, the United States State Department has called off visa operations at the embassy in Khartoum. So that is what we will be discussing in this video, beginning with the notice posted to that effect on the official website of the Bureau of Consular Affairs of the United States State Department. We'll also consider the implications of such a situation on diversity visa applicants and say what could be done by applicants in that country. So let's go into that. We begin by considering the official notice of the United States State Department relative to the suspension of visa operations in Sudan. Here is it. It was posted on April 24, 2023, and it reads, "The U.S. government can no longer provide non-immigrant or immigrant visa services in Sudan due to the current security situation. On April 22, 2023, the U.S. Embassy in Khartoum suspended its operations, and the Department of State ordered the departure of U.S. direct hire employees and their dependents due to the continued threat from armed conflict in Sudan. All immigrant and diversity visa interviews are cancelled until further notice." And it continues and concludes by saying, "We regret the hardships faced by individuals and families seeking visa services during this difficult time in Sudan." That's the State Department's notice concerning suspension of visa services in Sudan. So, visa services, including diversity visa interviews, cancelled at the U.S. Embassy in Khartoum, Sudan, due to the current security situation in that country. The link to the notice is in the description of this video for those who would like to access it for themselves. Next, to the status of DV 2023 cases from Sudan. Before the suspension of visa operations in Sudan, the embassy in Khartoum had interviewed a total of 60 cases comprising 98 applicants. Of those 98 applicants, 6 were denied diversity visas, 23 others ended up on 221G administrative processing, and 69 were issued diversity visas. And in addition to that, there were 35 others who were awaiting their interviews. Another thing is that, as we saw in a recent video, interviews at the Khartoum embassy had been scheduled up to the 13,000 plus case number range, with the highest case number scheduled so far being 13,925. And in that recent video, I even indicated that that embassy was far behind when it comes to interview scheduling. So the embassy in Khartoum was already performing poorly before the current situation, which was bad news for applicants in that country, and then with the prevailing situation as well as the suspension of visa operations, that is even worse news for them. As we saw from the notice earlier, visa operations are suspended until further notice. Now, further notice will actually depend on how things unfold in the coming weeks or months. And even if hostilities cease in that country, the State Department will have to take out some time to assess the situation before ordering the resumption of normal visa activities. Now, remember that we have only 3 more visa bulletins left in the DV 2023 program. That is why I said it is even worse news to have operations suspended in Sudan. As things appear, it is not likely that normal activities will resume at the Khartoum embassy in the coming few months. And then, in addition to that, their poor performance in the DV 2023 program will have a negative impact on the conduct of interviews, even if they should resume normal activities very soon. So, this is actually a wake up call to applicants in Sudan who are in the position to request a change of embassy. It is true that most applicants will not be in the position to relocate to another country. But to those of you who can, I suggest that you start to contact KCC to request a change of embassy, preferably to an embassy that is performing well. Most times, applicants who request a change of embassy are required to provide proof of residence in the country where they are requesting their case to be transferred. But in your specific case, the prevailing situation in your country should serve as a justification for your request. Now, to entrance to the DV 2024 program in Sudan, as you are aware, the results of the 2024 program will be published in a week's time. In case you are selected for further processing, this same advice applies to you. If you are in the position, begin to think of another embassy to conduct your interview, because as I said earlier, we cannot determine when the current situation in your country will actually be put under control. It is possible that it may run for several weeks, it could run for several months, it is even possible to go on for more than a year. And if that should happen, it means that the US Embassy in Khartoum will remain closed for more than that length of time, and that is going to affect your application process. In case the situation improves very soon and things return to normal and the embassy resumes normal visa operations, then it's fine. But since we do not know how long the situation will last, it is better to prepare for the worst possible scenario. So that's the unfortunate news concerning interviews at the US Embassy in Khartoum, Sudan. Now, in case you are one of the applicants affected by the situation in Sudan, I wish you the very best as you try to find a way to continue your diversity visa application process in the midst of the ongoing crisis. Which brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching it. See you very soon, God willing, in the next one. Goodbye.